Well, hello there, and welcome back to the pod if you're returning, or hi if it's your first time. Today we're going to talk about the topic, what is a producer? Well, really, it's a matter of semantics. But currently, if you believe the internet or social media, everyone's a producer. That's literally anybody who's ever downloaded a DAW, thrown some loops together, made themselves a cheesy house tune or hip-hop beat. Boom, you're a producer. Now let's get it straight. There are some people who do that and are actually very good at it. And in fact, without that kind of producer, most hip-hop made right now would never exist. Some people are incredible at it, and some people just make terrible Walmart-type beats, which don't really have any purpose of existence. Am I dunking on this kind of producer? Well, no. Hear me out. I would say that a person who creates songs from start to finish should actually be called an artist/producer. And the truly great ones at it are in fact some of the most talented and dangerous people in the music business. Look at Jam & Lewis, Timbaland, even today, Billie Eilish with Phineas. Incredible body of work. And such as it is with every major EDM artist out there. So no, you can't take the title away from them. It's one type of producer. It's a little bit like the argument between tracks and stems. At the end of the day, we know when people say stems, what they really mean is the multi-track. You can't put the genie back in the bottle and language evolves. However, let's go back and let's look at several of the types of producer that exist out there in the world. Traditionally, I kind of liken the role of producer in music to that of a director in movies. It's the closest similar description. You're responsible for the thing from start to finish and have to oversee every single aspect to ensure that the product, quotey fingers, the music, is suitable for commercial release as well as live up to the artist's artistic vision, which is a pretty tall order. So let's look at a few types of producer. How about someone legendary, like a traditional producer like Quincy Jones was? He was an artist, composer, arranger, producer whose musical knowledge was invaluable to an artist as they made a record. He also used a top-class team of technical people to support that process. He wasn't ever going to be touching a mixing desk or open a laptop to put a tune together on Ableton, but he sure as hell could play, write a score, and direct musicians, and is wiser than most of us would ever be, and knows exactly what is good or bad. Read his biography if you ever get a chance. It's truly inspirational and will remind you how bad this man was. Now, another part of the job could be dealing with the interests and goals of the record company and balancing those with the ones of the artist. Again, not always easy. They might want to pull in different directions. You'd have to handle budgets, schedules, know where to get the best string section or pizza on any given day, as well as deliver the record on time. Some of those producers were even A&R at the company. Now, while they might not have always been the most on point creatively, they were probably the most likely person to talk the marketing department into actually selling this record you made. So, could have been a good choice back in the day. What about a hit-making genius like Rick Rubin? Well, what does he do? Well, apparently, Rick is notorious for not even showing up at the studio. Perhaps immortalized as Willie Show in The Adventures of Mixer Man? I don't know. Or recording anything. He's mainly a song guy. A kind of get the work done up front type. Perhaps offering mysterious inspiration early in the project. Working on and choosing songs. Offering arrangement help. Curating and so on. Who then hands off to a competent team who actually records the project. Maybe he comes in and edits the thing back later, taking on the role of reducer on a project, as Kanye called him. And it obviously works for a lot of people. Well, apart from Muse, who didn't seem to get on with the concept when they said, he taught us how not to produce a record. Still, you can't argue with his success, so he sure does something right. Often you get an engineer producer who not only produces, but actually records the whole thing. A complete control freak. Maybe someone like one of my heroes, Michael Beinhorn, a talented engineer who also manages every aspect down to the grade of mic cables used in the studio, and sure enough, has a very, very strong opinion as a producer on everything he records, and understands the complexities of artistic direction and the art itself of record making. Now, you get a sliding scale of less and less participatory or talented versions of people in this genre, and I've worked with a few of each. But technical prowess is not everything. You need musicality and taste to pull this off. Can you rewrite a lyric? Know what's cutting edge this month in the genre you're currently working on? Or maybe rearrange a song so it works? Play therapist? Or play a mean guitar but never do? And use that information to help guide the guitar player through their solo that they've done 99 times and know exactly when to STFU. These are all things you're going to have to do in that particular role. Maybe you get one of these co-conspirator producers to push you. You're kind of Brian Eno type character, throwing weirdness and curveballs into the process. Cheerleading maybe, being a camp counselor, a third wheel, or perhaps you could come across someone I would call the voice of reason producer. The person who doesn't really care about your nose flute solo and knows it has to go, and will be the unpopular guy who tells the rapper that their flow is crap and they should rewrite that verse, as they have an eerie sense of what people out there in the real world actually like. Now, can you do it all? Well, in theory, yeah, sure. But the best I have ever seen know exactly when to hand off to others. You might be great at the long jump, but how's your head for heights when it comes to the pole vault? I remember my first session with a guy who'd been a successful producer in the 80s, recording vocals for a pop track, line by line, word by word, for hours until it was good enough for him. Now, this was before the DAW, so we were rewinding and dropping in lines, sometimes words, sometimes parts of words. And the whole time the producer would let her know what he wanted. That line was a little flat. You kind of rushed the tail of this. Perhaps try a little bit more vibrato as you tail off. That kind of thing. We kept it going really quick, the flow, so the singer could stay on top of where they were, but it took maybe 6 hours, and at the end of the day, you knew the singer was tired and emotional. However, in the end, the result was fantastic, and everybody was really happy with the result. Now, contrast that approach to another, also very successful producer I worked with, who offered no constructive advice at all, leaving the poor band, who were quite successful, to do things again and again, and just guess what was wrong with the last take. One of the guys actually asked me about midnight, as our fearless leader went for a pee, is it us? Or is this session just lost in time? Just waiting around for the wave of approval from the mighty Oz. It was kind of depressing. It's people like that made me think, you know what? I'm at least as good as you. It's time to step up and try to become a producer myself. I did. I had ups and downs, and in the end, I kind of figured out the best way I could add value really was to mix. That was playing to my strengths. The problem with producing is, while I loved it, it took massive amounts of time out of my life. And unless you're working with artists who are at the level of their career where they have a decent budget, it's very hard to make a living. If you want to go for it, take every opportunity to learn all you can from everybody, every single type of this producer archetype. And if opportunity comes, be ready. Well, Short and sweet today. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, feel free to reach out, say hi, leave me any comments you have, and if you'd like to maybe be a guest on the podcast, reach out as well. I'd love to meet you. All right. Take care of yourselves out there, guys. See you next time on the pod.